What's going on, guys? This is MrTeej6's movie reviews. I am MrTeej. Today is the Avengers Infinity War spoiler review. Well, sort of my thoughts on the film, but now I can spoil everything, so yes, spoiler warning coming. Now, without question, the most shocking thing about this movie is the fact that basically Thanos wins at the end. That great scene where, Thor is using Stormbreaker, his newly forged weapon, and it goes through his chest, and you think, and it's just such a wonderful subversion, because you think, oh, it's over, yay, the hero won, and a great moment, and that great line where Thanos goes, you should have aimed for the head, and then the snap of his finger, and then all is lost. I mean, there's that wonderful shot that I may never forget, where in slow-mo, where all the Avengers try to fight Thanos, Cap, Falcon, War Machine, and he just whips all their asses without even thinking about it. It's such a wonderful, all hope is lost kind of moment. So it reminds me of the ending of The Empire Strikes Back, where basically, the heroes lose, and they go home, and they lick their wounds. They'll live to fight another day, but, for right now, it's the victory is his. And I love the last shot of the movie. It's just perfect. It's such a small, quiet shot where Thanos is on some kind of, I don't know where he is exactly, but, some house somewhere, and that wonderful smile. He's just that evil. He thinks, I've done a wonderful thing. I've balanced the universe out. Now, the character deaths are actually kind of interesting. I didn't think about this until someone pointed it out, or I read it somewhere. All the surviving Avengers are the original Avengers. It's Cap, Thor, Black Widow, Tony, which is kind of interesting because all the new characters, or the newer characters, are the ones who get taken out. I think this is part of Marvel's strategy. I think they're going to kill off some of the original Avengers in the next film. Who knows who, although I think Cap and Tony are prime candidates. And then, the new characters will be brought back somehow, and then they'll, assume the mantle of the new Avengers, which, of course, this has been, in 100 other reviews. There's no way in hell they're killing these characters off for good. They have Black Panther 2 coming out, another Spider-Man, trying to think who else, another Guardians of the Galaxy, so there's no way in hell they're dying. We all know this. It's not necessarily, the next film is going to be the interesting thing about it is going to be, how they bring them back, not if they bring them back, because I did some cheating, and I looked on Wikipedia for the next Avengers film, the cast list, and they're pretty much all in there. Gamora's in there, Star-Lord, Spider-Man, so they're all coming back in some way, which, by the way, Gamora and Thanos, that might be the highlight of the entire film. That relationship has so many complex layers. There's hatred and there's love, and my favorite scene of the entire film is with Gamora and Thanos, where Red Skull shows up, which I was like, holy shit, because I read the comic and I thought that was Mistress Death. Now, those who read the comics will know exactly who I'm talking about, but she plays a key role in the comics for Thanos, motivations, but it was Red Skull, and I was like, oh shit. Now, and unfortunately, that's not Hugo Weaving. A lot of people think it is Hugo Weaving, but it's not, because shortly after Captain America, the first Avenger, he actually said, I have no interest in continuing this part for, who knows, for whatever reason. Maybe the makeup was a pain in the ass or something, I don't know, but I would never have known unless someone unless I knew that before, but that scene is probably the dramatic high point of the film. It's predictable. I knew it was going to happen, because when he goes, you have to throw something in that you love, Gamora's there, I'm like, of course. But it didn't really dilute the impact of the scene. When he turns around, the tears down his eye, you're like, oh, it's on. And that wonderful slow-mo shot where he just chucks her off the cliff. And the look on, Thanos' face is what is, it's not like, haha, I've won, I've got it. It's hurtful, and that's why, the Russo brothers have said Thanos is basically, the star of this movie, or the central character, and I can totally see it, because really the other Avengers don't get too much development. There's little bits here and there, but largely Thanos is the most developed character of this film, because, the heroes, we've had movies to, basically develop them, and, by this point, it's a TV show, and if you haven't seen the other films, it's just like, don't bother going into the theater, because, you're not going to know what's going on, because they just don't have time to sit there and, try and sum up, what was it, 18 other movies. It's just, by this point, you're either into this, or you're not, and that's straight up, that's the end of it. The other thing, I guess the other thing I should mention is some of the character deaths. Spider-Man's, it's been reported all over the internet already, but it's true. That scene with Peter Parker as he's turning to dust is just tragic. I mean, and there's nothing Tony can do in that great line, I don't want to die, I don't want to die. Man, hit me right in the gut. That and Groot. Groot's death was the other big one that really got me. And apparently, this is now circulating all over the internet that his I am Groot, his line to Rocket is dad. So, oh man, just heartbreaking stuff going on here. The other thing I want to address is Star-Lord, because a lot of people are saying it's his fault. And in a way, they're right, and in a way, I can understand his motivation, though. It was like, he wouldn't do that. Why can't he just wait a couple seconds? Dude, you have to realize this guy has lost his mother and both of his fathers. I mean, this dude has dealt with a lot of death and a lot of pain. When he finds out that Gamora got killed, the love of his life, I mean, there's just a breaking point in some people's lives where they can't take it anymore. They snap, and he just snaps and doesn't give a damn about anything except his own personal needs, which he's human. That's what I like. He's a flawed character, so I can totally understand why he just goes fucking crazy on Thanos. But on the other hand, you're like, dude, you're being kind of selfish and you're sacrificing the entire universe. It's what makes him an interesting character. He has flaws, and that's wonderful. What else? Oh, I love the part where Tony is just blasts Thanos with everything he has and just causes one little scratch. And that great line, all of that for a drop of blood. Just chilling. Thanos really is a threat in this movie. And a lot of people have said the Marvel villains, in the past haven't been that great. Well, I think they got their asses kicked. I think those people got their asses kicked now, though, because Thanos is one of the best villains I've seen in a long time. I mean, of course, the fight with the Hulk at the beginning. Holy shit, do they ever establish some threat at the beginning? How he just basically boxes the Hulk and just lifts him up and just slams him down. I'm like, wow, that was great. The Hulkbuster armor being back in the movie was great too. Although I thought it was going to be Tony, but I was like, okay, that's a neat way for a Banner to still be involved in the fight. I do like the fact that the Hulk doesn't want to come out. Like, I think it's because the Hulk's so scared because he's never gotten his ass whooped that bad before that he's just like, no, I don't want anything to do with it. Of course, we all know in the next film he's probably gonna, Hulk out at the end. It'll be a wonderful, crowd cheering moment. So I can't wait for that. But yeah, overall, this movie was absolute blast. It took chances. It did things I didn't expect. Comment below if you want to talk about any more spoilers or anything I'm not mentioning right here. But anyway, this is MrTeej6, and I will see you next time.